Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm not entirely sure how loud I am. I didn't plug the headphones in. I got this thing where the microphone's not set up on the table, so I'm gonna kind of do my work while I'm talking to you today. I think that's the most efficient way to get done because I want to film these videos. I really think video content is a good way to help people overcome addictions. I film a lot of videos about a lot of different things. I make rap music, I travel and I have fun, but all of those are in an effort to remain sober, you know. I'm drinking coffee, you know. Pour myself another cup, you know. Every morning I drink a full French press of coffee. And I regret it more often than not. I don't want to say regret it. I don't regret it. It makes me anxious. I'm so used to consuming coffee and cannabis together. Like normally I wake up and for the first 3 hours I don't smoke weed, and then I smoke weed the rest of the day, but I haven't been doing that for the last 2 weeks. And this is one of many periods in my life where I've gone like without smoking. You know, if you read my blog or you follow these posts, you know that I got sober in July of 2018, and then in November of 2018 I left America for the first time and I took a one-way trip. I went to Kolkata, India, and then I was going to stay in India for 6 months because I've got a 10-year visa. But it was difficult. It was like, you know, culture shock. That's a real thing, you know. And I think I might have handled it better than most people. But I just moped around for 30 days. Filmed a lot of videos. Those videos are on the Spark Twain YouTube channel. But a lot of it is kind of me like complaining about stuff. And I'm excited to go back to India with a better mind state. Because I literally was just like smoking weed every single day, and then I just got on the plane stoned, and then I went to India, and then I wasn't smoking weed. I didn't smoke weed for 2.5 months until I was in Laos, and I was sitting on my porch in Vang Vieng? No. Yeah, Vang Vieng. And I'm sitting on my porch, and then this Australian dude like lit up something. I'm smelling I'm like, what is that? He's like, weed, you want to smoke some? I'm like, fuck yeah, bro. I was like, where'd you get it, you know? And he told me, you know, happy bar, happy smoke. You know, you just gotta ask. And then I smoked weed for a couple more times in Laos. Then I went to Vietnam. It was kind of a big thing because I was traveling with this girl, and like I realized that I didn't, you know, want to be traveling with this girl anymore, and so we parted ways. And then I went to Vietnam, big long trip. You know, I remember leaving Laos at like 4 a.m, had to wake up. Man, it was a big thing. You know, we didn't even really sleep. And I woke up, got on the tuk-tuk, took me to the bus, and everyone was complaining about the bus because it was like a bunch of old folks, and they were like, traveling Asia is you're kind of winging it. I mean, unless you have a lot of money, if you're trying to travel on a budget in Asia, you might get misled. You know, they thought they were gonna have this big bus, and then they cram us onto this little bus, and this guy was like, I have like knee problems. Like I can't sit for 12 hours with my knee folded. And they're like, okay, you want to get off the bus or no? You know, I mean, that's it. That's the bus that's taking you. You know, so the younger you are, the more spry you are, and you can open your mind up to kind of changing of plans at the last minute. You know, like the reason that they had the smaller bus is because not enough people signed up. Not enough people signed up to qualify for the big bus to, you know, denote using the big bus. Neither of those words are what I really wanted to use. Anyway, take the bus, get off the bus in Vietnam, caught a taxi or a Grab, like with these two people I was on the bus with, and I was like, yo, where are you guys going? They're like, we're going over here. I was like, oh, that's like 2 blocks from where I'm going. Let's share a cab, you know. So we called a cab, and whoa. Dandelion ASMR just kind of tripped on me for no reason. I don't really understand what's going on. But I screenshot all of my conversations online so I can reference them later. This is no different. I have no idea if this person makes good ASMR or not. I've never really checked out their channel. And I didn't even really need to bring it up. I just like left a comment because they were saying like, why don't we get this person out of the White House? Just go in there and drag them out in cuffs. And I was like, we can't do that because it undermines the ruling class. You know, of course, like I'm on your side. Fuck Trump. I'm putting that on the internet, you know what I'm saying? Like, at first it was like, I respected him, he's my president, I respect the office of the United States president, but he's slowly become like pretty fascist. I don't know, people who don't think that, I think it's a strange thing. I don't even understand what happened. You know, I was like, you should go check out this video on Karen's Going Wild. Where like, I didn't say all this, but they're in front of the White House like chanting, you know, and it's a good video, and I don't know, this person's just angry and just wants to get in a fight. That's all that's happening here. That's kind of sad. Like, you can't just go drag them out in handcuffs, otherwise they'd be doing that. The reason you can't is because you're sitting here watching this YouTube video. You're not a really high and powerful person, and the people who are really high and powerful, they stick to the script. I know you hear me talking about sticking to the script. I don't stick to the script at all, and I am broke, and I spend a lot of time being sad for myself. But I gotta live and speak my truth. So then I went to Vietnam, you know, took the taxi, got out of the taxi, you know, me and these people said peace out, parted ways, and I walked to my hostel, and like, I check in to the hostel, they show me my bed, I put my stuff on the bed, and then I walk out to the bar next door, and there's like 2 people rolling and smoking joints. And I'm like, what? I sit down next to this guy, this Vietnamese guy, and I'm like, you're smoking weed? He's like, yeah. I was like, I can smoke weed here? People are just smoking weed here? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, dude, it's super chill in Vietnam. I mean, the last day I was there, people were eating acid and just walking around the streets smoking weed. It is chill in Vietnam, you know? So then I smoked some weed in Vietnam. Every day I smoked weed in Vietnam, and it cost me a lot of money. That's like where most of my money went. And it was unfortunate. That's like so where did I even start with this? I don't really remember. Excuse me. Talking about addiction recovery. If you are in the early stages of addiction recovery, smoking weed is not your move. Now, I did for a long time. In fact, I guess I can't even lie about it. That was one of the pillars of my ability to recover. There was like consuming cannabis, watching ASMR videos, traveling the world. Those 3 pillars are what upheld my sobriety to the point where now I can like go 2 weeks, 2 months without smoking weed, and I don't have a drink. That's the most important part. Like, every day is not perfect, but I don't have any alcohol or do any hard drugs. Like, some guy, I asked him, I was like, yo, you got any weed? You know, I can find any weed? And he called me back 2 days later. He's like, no, I can't get any weed, but like, I got Klonopin if you want it. And I was like, nah, bro, no, not the same game. I'm not just trying to get high. I want to smoke weed. You know, I want to get stoned. I don't want to get high. And I do denote a difference between those things nowadays. I call getting high all the other stuff, and then I call getting stoned smoking weed. You know, you get high when you smoke weed, but to denote it from other things, I call that getting stoned. Like, I get stoned, but I don't get high anymore. That's how I maintain sobriety. And I'm actually in an infinitely better mood than I was like an hour or 2 ago. Man, when I woke up, I was not feeling good at all. Not feeling good at all. This coffee really does help. The right amount is good. Too much, I kind of get anxious. But the right amount is good. You see how I haven't done any work on the computer here? And I want to. I'm trying to open up international shipping on my website. Because not most of my readers, 52% of my readers, it's slowly been getting more and more. About 50%, and now it's 52% of my readers are from outside of the United States. So if you're in the UK, Germany, Poland, South Africa, I want to be able to ship to you. I want to be able to ship to you if you're in Vietnam. I want to be able to ship to you if you're in China. I'm not super sure about all these things. They like banned ASMR in China because they think it's sexual. which is a thing I talk about. I used to talk more about ASMR. Man, I'm going to reformat my whole website soon because I think people are really confused. Like, I call it the ASMR Daily, but then it's about addiction recovery. So I'm going to start calling it like the Addiction Recovery Daily or something like that, and then have a separate thing for ASMR where I might do ASMR news and update that once a week or something. Now I'm gonna start to separate the brands. Like, there's always going to be the Addiction Recovery blog, and it will probably almost certainly always be on ASMR.community. But ASMR.community is an ASMR brand. It's a tech startup. That's what it is. And so when it comes to addiction recovery, opening a business has been a huge part of my keeping myself in check. Like, I got all these tie-dye shirts here, and they're all for sale. I'll drop the links in the description. You know, twainstiedye.com and asmr.community/shop. Those are the two spots where you're going to go to get these shirts. And they're kind of two different methods. Like, twainstiedye.com is bulk tie-dye. You can get 5 shirts for $80, but they're not screen printed or anything. And then asmr.community is where you can get your ASMR apparel. You know, shirts that actually have the logo on them. And this one's, see in there, the first time I screen printed it wasn't all good. This logo is a little low and it's kind of faded. But the prices are set accordingly. And the shirts are high quality and the tie-dye holds up. Like, this one I've washed 2 or 3 times, but there's other shirts that I've washed like 10 times now. Like this one, no, not this one, but one that looks just like it. But there's some shirts I've washed like 10 times and the dye really holds up. So I am good at tie-dyeing things, but I do need to get better at screen printing. But opening a business and holding my accountability to that business is an integral part of my sobriety. Like, I told you about the 3 pillars. Now the 4th pillar is opening a business. I can't go back to drinking. And I don't say that like, people talk about sobriety, they're like, you know, you go to a meeting or whatever, they're like, and I've not gone to one meeting the entire time I've been sober. It's just not a thing that interests me. And they tell me like, but I did before I got sober, I tried that out, you know, and they're like, you can't drink. I'm like, I can drink. What are you talking about? I'm 21 and they sell it. I can do anything I want. You got to convince me not to. I can drink if I wanted to go out right now, I do have enough cash in my wallet to go buy a bottle of liquor. I can make the next 3 days disappear, no problem. Poof. But I don't want to. And even in my darkest hours, I don't want to. I'm going through the second hardest time in my life right now. I slowly was easing into like, is that really the truth? But it is. Like, opening this business has put me in a position where I cannot live a lifestyle that I want. I want to do certain things, but I can't right now because I've invested myself so heavily in this business, writing the blog. Most of it was in buying materials for the shirts because it was like, okay, I want to bring people to the blog and make money that way, but I don't, the way to make money through blogging is to answer people's questions. And then when they search the questions on Google, they find your website. And then as they're reading the article, you can recommend them certain things, especially if it's like, what's the best water heater for a house of 1,200 square feet in 2020? And it's like, you can then recommend a list of very specific water heaters and put a link to everyone. And if you do the work beforehand, you can make it so when people click the link, if they buy the water heater, you can get paid. That's a very reasonable business model. And I think people that are struggling with addiction can really focus in on, all right, like, because money is a big factor. Anybody who thinks that addiction and money do not play hand in hand, I have to disagree with you. People who are really poor get addicted for reasons different than people who are really rich get addicted. But money, I think, plays a factor almost always, you know. Either I don't know anything about being rich. My family has never had like money like that. I guess it's hard for me to work on the thing while I'm talking to you, because I am looking at this like, all right, I want to add some countries to this list of shipping. I've never been rich. My family's not wealthy by any means. Like, both of my parents live paycheck to paycheck, and they both just bought their house within the last year, and they're like 50. You know, and they've never been married. My parents were never married. They were together for like the first 6 months I was alive, and that was it. Maybe the first 2 years, but I don't really think so. But I'm here, so that's cool. And people, I just wrote an article today, Don't Turn Around After 18 Months Sober. I think that's the title of it. I can actually just tell you literally. And the reason, I went on Reddit once. Don't turn around at 18 months sober. That's the name of the article. I went on Reddit once and I saw this guy talking, or he wrote a post. He was like, I've been sober for 18 months and every day I think about how it's not worth it and I would just be happier if I went back to doing drugs. And I read that and I was like, somebody is failing this guy, because he can't have nobody in his life, or she. This person can't have no people in their life supporting them. And if you're 18 months into it, sobriety, you actually haven't done drugs in 18 months and you're thinking about going back to them, there's a reason for that, and you got to get to the bottom of that reason. It's so hard there's a couple stages, and the best people around me, the best support that I have in my life for my business, not for sobriety, because I don't think people are worried that I'm going to go off the wagon right now. But the best support I find for business is people are like, look, you got to remember that addicts don't want help. And I remember this. I didn't want help. I wanted everybody to just stay away from me and stop telling me to get sober, because it just makes me drink more, but they didn't get that. It was literally like a vendetta. For every time you come to me and tell me to stop drinking, I'm going to have 2 drinks and just leave me alone. And I was that same way in school. I kept telling my mom, stop telling me to do my homework. Just leave me alone and let me do it. And she wouldn't, and she wouldn't. And finally she did. Senior year, she left me alone, and I made the honor roll, because it was like, I've been wanting to do this for so long, but I just want to piss you off. Just leave me alone. My only mission in life is to ruin your life. And I'm not happy about that. In fact, I'm embarrassed. You shouldn't make that your mission. But I couldn't. I'm speaking my truth. And it's still kind of exists to this day. And now that I'm older and I'm understanding a lot of things about life, it's like, okay, there might actually be some reasons for that. There's still things I look at my parents, I'm like, wow, I'm doing these things before I have a kid. Why didn't you? But I think that you can learn something from this, or I wouldn't be telling you, and for people who have a kid and an addiction problem, that's a totally different game. I don't really know anything about it. I'm 28 with no kids, and I've been very vigilant to avoid having kids, because I just can't handle it. I can't even imagine having a kid. They would not have a good life if I had a kid, because if they ended up like me, oh my God, can you imagine if they ended up worse than me? And that really surprised me when I made honor roll. It really did. Granted, I took easier classes. I took only autos classes and English classes my senior year, because that was what I was interested in, and I had already done all the other classes. I passed, I didn't really fail, but it was maybe even junior year she started to leave me alone. But I remember thinking, and then as I grow up and I talk to other members of my family, they're like, yeah, your mom was really bad with your homework. She would yell at you, because she didn't understand the problems, and you couldn't teach her. And I'm like, what? And nobody stepped in and solved this situation? I grew up and literally became a raging alcoholic. Come on, you couldn't see that this was coming? Nobody can see that it's coming. They can never see that it's coming. It's nobody's fault but yours, And the sooner you own up to that and realize it, the better. I'm 28, got sober at 26. Is that true? Yeah. Got sober at 26. And that's pretty early, I think, for a lot of people. I think you don't have to believe me. The proof is there. There's people alive who saw me go through my struggles and my addictions. It was rough. I drank a lot, and I was really not in a good place. Even though I was young, don't discount my knowledge on the subject. I went through some shiznit for shizzle. I went through some crap. I went through some hard times. The hard time I'm going through right now, totally different. My shoulder's all messed up, so it is. Back pain is something that I just can't put into words. It makes me cry how much my back hurts, and that I did this to myself. But I don't know what to do. And then everybody gave me a hard time about it. They were just like, well, if you weren't drinking, you wouldn't have broke your shoulder. And I'm like, thanks, family members, for being so cool. You're so nice, and not everybody. I live with my dad, and he wasn't like that, but he also didn't understand how to help me or what to do, and it's a deep thing. I'm living with my dad, you know. We don't necessarily we get along, but we have totally different lifestyles. It's not even the same ballpark, you know. And I used to have a similar lifestyle to his, but I would be drinking all the time because it kind of made me sad living like that, but I didn't really know how to live a different life. You know, I'm trying to teach you gotta push it to the extreme. You're gonna live once and then you're gonna die. That's the only thing you know for sure, is that you're gonna die. 100% you are gonna die. Probably not today and probably not tomorrow, but I'm 100% sure that you're gonna die someday. And between now and then, you gotta do the right things, and you gotta remember that you're gonna die and use that as the motivator. Don't be sad about it. Remember that it's far down the road, but how many old people you talk to that aren't quite happy with the way they lived? You don't want to end up like that, you know? And I realized that, and so I started to make changes. I wish that I never would have fallen into addiction in the first place, but I don't beat myself up about that. I own up to it. I talk about it. I speak my truth. It's not always easy because I think I make cringeworthy content sometimes, but I'm practicing and I'm getting better. By the time I'm 28, by the time I'm 35, I'm going to be a machine. I'm going to be able to do speeches and go talk to large groups of people and really help these people, but I will never have gotten there without practice, and I never would have gotten sober without really taking some huge risks mentally. The hardest things we do in life are not what we do physically. It's the things that put us outside of our comfort zone. Lifting a boulder over your head is easier than doing these mental gymnastics. The hardest thing, there goes the air conditioner. I'm probably gonna shut this video off soon. How long have we been going? 21 minutes, that's not so bad. Breaking up with my girlfriends. In the past, I've had girlfriends, and I've realized I want to break up with this person, but then I just don't do it for a long time. That's the hardest thing that I've had to do, you know, besides overcoming addiction and these mental gymnastics. Overcoming addiction was a deep thing, you know. It's a choice, but it's so much different than breaking up with a girlfriend. Breaking up with a girlfriend, I think, is something more people can relate to, and it's easier for me to just put it into words. I knew I wanted to break up with this person, but I did some stuff in my head oh, is it really, maybe it'll get better, maybe this and that. No, it never got better, and I still legitimately loved the person, but I just wanted something else. And it was really hard for me to break up with that person, and I now understand you got to do that fast and move on to the next thing. Rapid experimentation. You're trying to withhold a relationship and uphold a relationship. That's a different thing. Relationships are difficult, and you gotta work at them. I know that, and I want to find the right person to work with. And sometimes I wonder, holy hell, I hope I didn't already, discount that person from my life. But I got to do what I feel is right. And so breaking up with my girlfriends, when I realized how hard that was for me, and I'm why don't I just do it? It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me super anxious thinking about breaking up with this girl. It makes me super sad, and I'm really only not doing it because I know it's gonna affect her, and I don't want to make her sad. So the hardest thing, and that opens up to so many other things. If you're stuck in your hometown and you're trying to quit drinking, just move. I literally wrote an article today where I tell people, if you're having problems with addiction in your hometown and you want to leave, money plays a big factor. You can make more money in San Francisco. Go to San Francisco, sleep under a tree in Washington Square Park while you look for a job, and then when you get the job, get your first paycheck. You might want a Planet Fitness membership so you can shower and stuff. You get your first job and in San Francisco, and then you get your first paycheck, and then you save up 1 or 2 paychecks. Yes, you've been sleeping in a park for 4, maybe 6 weeks now, and then you get an apartment. But after 4 or 6 weeks sleeping in a park, you are gonna know some shit about life that you did not know before. And unless you've ever slept outside, do not knock that shit. It's not, people do it every day. I'm not saying that it is the solution. I'm saying that you gotta think outside the box. And if you write that off as, oh, I would never do that, I absolutely, would you rather keep drinking than do that? That's a serious question. I'm seriously asking you that. Would you rather keep drinking than go sleep in a park for 6 weeks? And I didn't sleep in a park for 6 weeks. I slept in a park for 15 days, not in a row. I do 2 days in a row, and then I go rent a hostel, or I'd go like sleep at someone's house, you know, because I did have some friends. But I spent a couple of nights outside, and now I'm not scared of it. You know, it's not scary to me. Like, I can understand how you would be scared. You'd be like, what am I gonna do? Move out? And I'm just gonna, like, you're not gonna die. You are not gonna die, for sure. You're not gonna die, you know, but you have to have confidence that you're not just gonna end up staying in the park and becoming comfortable with it and buying alcohol and not looking for a job and begging for money on the streets. Like, you could slip into that, but you don't want to slip into that. That's like, if you slip into that, your problem is maybe deeper than I'm really aware. You know, did this person block me? Well, they didn't block me, but I'm gonna unfollow them. I don't really know. I don't know why this person freaked out at me. That was really weird. You know, so I'm writing things like this, and I'm like kind of worried that I'm gonna like get in trouble or something's gonna happen where someone's like, I did that and it ruined my whole life. It's like, I don't know, I did it and it didn't ruin my whole life. Like, I didn't move outside, I moved into a hostel, you know, but then there was a time where I had to make a choice, like, and I decided to sleep outside to save some money, because money is more important than comfort. You know, the hardest things we do in life are the things that put us outside of our comfort zone. If you've never even spent one night outside, and I'm not talking about camping, I'm talking about, you know, go outside and sleep on a park bench overnight. Like, it's miserable, it sucks, and you wake up and your back hurts, but like, it's a motivator for me. It was a motivator for me, and if you're in a position where you're stuck in this cycle, you can't get out, you got to do something extreme. That's why I like flew to India. First time outside of the United States, I just bought the ticket and flew to India. I was so scared. You think I wasn't scared when it was easy to buy the ticket, but getting on the plane, I was freaking, you know. I'm not going to turn around, and I understand that people speak English in India, and it's a democracy. These are things I understand, English and democracy. Okay, I get those things. So I'm not scared. I had fear, but it wasn't like it stopped me from doing it. It's like, well, I'm not gonna die, and it's nothing is worse than drug addiction and alcoholism. So it's just like, I'm trying new things, and that's one of the new things I wanted to try, so I tried it. I didn't really want to try sleeping outside, but I did it and found out, like, wow, it's literally just like you fall asleep and you wake up and then everything is the same. There's no difference. If you're attached to having a lot of stuff, now that's a thing. Like, there's so many homeless people I saw in San Francisco that have a cart full of stuff, or 2 carts. And when I see all the stuff that they have, 100% of it's garbage. I mean, they don't need any of those things. A sleeping bag and other things, but they'd have a lot of stuff with them that was like, you don't need a whole cart's worth. When I went to India, it's not out here, but I brought only 1 laptop bag with 2 shirts, 2 pairs of underwear, a computer, and then a whole bunch of stuff. There's a video on YouTube where I show what I'm bringing and what I brought to India. 1 laptop bag, 1 bag. I didn't own anything. I absolutely got rid of all my worldly possessions. Or I have some stuff at my mom's house. I got like 3 or 4 large Rubbermaid containers worth of stuff, and these are like my assignments from kindergarten through like 5th grade that my mom saved, and then she was like, I think we're gonna get rid of these. I was like, we can't get rid of these, you know. It'd be like the equivalent if you had trophies from when you were a kid, you know, my old schoolwork. I don't really have any trophies. I don't think I've ever won a trophy in my life. Books, a whole box of books, and then just a bunch of other things that I collected over the years that I was like, you know, I think these things are cool and I want to save them. And I'm grateful that my mom allows me to keep those things in my house, and my father allows me to keep things here. Now I own too much stuff to travel. I got a bunch of shirts. I've got, you know, other things. I bought this French press. I have some other things. I've got things, you know, and I like having things, but I'm really making a vigilant effort to not collect too much stuff until I know I can, like, not renting an apartment, but like owning something, a condo or a house, you know. I don't want to like start collecting big things, you know, or a lot of things until I can get past that point. And this is my video for the day. I'm gonna wrap it up, I'm gonna shut it off, and then I'm gonna do some work on my website. But, you know, try new things, and nothing is as extreme as addiction or alcoholism. So no matter what your fear is, really consider the other possibility that you're gonna stay where you are and keep doing the same thing. it might be a fate worse than death. And so what do you have to fear? I don't think that there's anything to fear. You know, you might not want to go as extreme as moving to Washington Square Park and sleeping outside for 6 weeks while you wait for a paycheck, but that's like probably the most extreme I can get. Start easing off the gas. Okay, what other things can I do besides that totally extreme thing that might be able to help me? You know, saving up money and moving to a new city with money before you leave. Maybe your parents do have some money. You can ask them. You can be like, hey, Mom, you know I was fighting drinking and I had to move back in with you because a lot of things fell apart, but I haven't been drinking for a month now and I've been working. I've saved up some money and I'm wondering if you could match the $1,000 I have so I could move to like Omaha, Nebraska, where it's probably boring in Omaha, but it's cheap. And it's different if you don't already live there. Even moving from like Milwaukee to Omaha, like it's new. You will not probably be able to live there forever. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll meet new people. But any place is good. Going to a new place, I think any place is good. I don't know if moving from Milwaukee to Omaha is like the move, but it's a move. It's a rapid experimentation move. Try not to sign a 1-year lease. Try to just sign like a 6-month lease if you can. But maybe you sign a 1-year lease, you live in Omaha for 1 year, and then you move to a new city, and that's part of the plan. You know, getting comfortable and settling in is a dangerous thing, especially for an addict, because all of a sudden the comfort of one thing can lead to the comfort of another. So you're like comfortable in Omaha, and then you're comfortable hanging out with a new group of people that drink, and you always tell them, like, I don't drink, but all of a sudden you're comfortable drinking with them, and you're back to square one, you know, or whatever. So there, you got to be vigilant. And the hardest thing you're going to do is put yourself outside of your comfort zone. And you might have to keep putting yourself outside of your comfort zone over and over again until you become the master of it. And then your comfort zone is everywhere and nowhere all at once. You know, like I'm definitely outside of my comfort zone here, but I'm inside of my comfort zone when I'm on this film talking to you. Like, these videos are going to be on the internet long after I'm dead. And I feel good about that because I had to go through some shit to tell you these truths. I had to go through some things to get here. I cannot even believe that I went through all that. Why did I do all the things that I did? I don't know. But they were not the move. You know, my shoulder's messed up. I can't even like exercise. If you can do push-ups and yoga, do that. That's another thing you can do. Right now, today, you know, do some yoga. Go find a video on the internet. A lot of people watch Yoga with Adriene on YouTube. You know, she's good. I'm trying to find some more yoga teachers to work with so I can promote these smaller brands. Like, I am legitimately talking to people in the local area and being like, hey, you know, are you making YouTube videos or you do these yoga classes? Let's film it. And then I'm going to start recommending it on my blog because I want to work with people that I know and can trust on an intimate level that really also care about you and your addiction recovery. So yeah, that's what I have. Rapid experimentation, try some new stuff, do some new stuff as soon as today, and try not to think too hard about that next drink or that next hit that you're gonna. Don't think about it. You know, it might be there, it might not be there. You know, I got sober and kept a bottle of alcohol in my room for like 3 or 4 months and didn't even touch it. You know, just to like look at it. Every once in a while I'd pull it out and I would just talk to it, but I never drank it. You know, and this is like, I lived in the room with that alcohol without drinking it, and that was a really big part of my journey, you know. So you're gonna have to put yourself outside of your comfort zone, and you will find success, and it will take longer than you think, but the journey is the beautiful part. The journey is what you will remember, and the journey is what you will appreciate. The hardest times you'll remember, and you'll really appreciate them later. So I appreciate you sticking around with me today. My name is Spark Twain. My name is also Chris Armstrong. I should really just pick one, but everyone kept asking me if my name was Spark, and it's like, no, my name is Chris. So I'm Chris Armstrong, and you can catch me here on this channel. You can also catch me at asmr.community or at sparktwain.com, and you can find these shirts and some information about local creators, local artists in Southwest Florida at twainstieDye.com. You'll be able to get the shirts and also see some information about the other people that I work with down here at the local markets and stuff. And again, asmr.community has a daily blog about addiction recovery. using ASMR as the main tool for addiction recovery. It's right on the homepage there. And there's also some tools for individuals who are interested in creating their own ASMR channel. Maybe that's your route to sobriety. I tell people all the time, if you've decided to get sober and you're really going to try and you want to get sober, you don't know how many times you're going to fall back or if this is going to be working for you, start filming your journey. Start recording your journey, not only for your own accountability, you can show it and help other people. Maybe ASMR is the way you record your journey, you know what I'm saying? ASMR is popular and it's a way to make money too, which is it's not shameful. I appreciate you sticking around with me, and you have a good day. I'll talk to you soon.